Hello, everyone, and welcome to Mayfield and Friends, episode 25. Today on the cast, I have Mr. Teaks, 10 HP UIM and 10 HP regular account extraordinaire. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
I appreciate you having me on, May. So my name is Teaks. I mainly play 10 HP accounts. I have two types of 10 HP accounts at the moment. I have a 10 HP main called Teaks that I maxed back in 2017. And then after that, I made a 10 HP UIM called Purrverse, and that's the one I've been playing ever since. But yeah, basically my entire time on old school, I've only played 10 HP accounts.
Awesome. So why don't you go ahead and tell us how you got into the 10 HP game mode? I know it's we've seen a lot of people play this type of account. We don't really see a whole lot of content created for any high levels. I know you were you were one of the first to max initial 10 HP account, right?
Yeah, I was actually by some miracle, but
So you were the first or one of the first?
I was the first.
Oh.
Technically, I was the first. There was some other accounts that had much higher stats, like overall XP, but they didn't fully max all their stats 99. I was lucky enough to get to the first one on that.
Awesome. So what drove you to the 10 HP lifestyle?
Yeah, so it's kind of funny. I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I actually started as a level 3 skiller, as I think a lot of people did when old school first came out. It was a chance again to live that childhood dream of playing a skiller back in the day. So when old school came out, I started out as a level 3, and I actually joined Z Skillers, the clan me and you are both in right now. And even though it's kind of a meme at this point, it has been a really nice community to grow up with over the years. And eventually, one of the clan members I found out about was named Dig. Dig was one of the original 10 HPs. He was the first one to get 99 magic and range and strength actually. But I was really inspired by his account, and I thought, oh well, why not? Let me try it out. So I ended up getting combat, and really the rest was history from there.
And you haven't looked back since. You don't ever have the itch to play level 3 or any kind of limited account build. You just, the 10 HP is for you.
Yeah, I would say the 10 HP is for me. I have thought about doing another level 3, but the 10 HP and level 3 are very similar, right? They're both skillers in their own way. The only difference is that 10 HP can do some type of combat at a very limited amount. So I still get my fair share of skilling like a level 3 would, but I get all the added benefits of playing a 10 HP account too. A funny story too, when I made my original account, my original level 3 turned into a 10 HP, I completed Priest in Peril, and this was back in 2015, probably about when this happened. And when you complete Priest in Peril, you unlock the Slayer Tower, and there's some tasks that you aren't able to canon when you're trying to train Slayer, right? Hindsight, this isn't that big of a deal. I've actually completed that on my Teaks nowadays, but back in the day, I thought I was fucked. I thought I couldn't train Slayer, so I actually restarted my account, even though I was about 70 base. I restarted my account, and then that's when Teaks was actually started, and I believe he was created sometime in around 2015.
Awesome. So how long did it take you to go from brand new teak, brand new sapling, if you will, to a fully fleshed out tree?
Well, when I first started, it was very slow, very inefficient. I didn't really know what I was doing, like a lot of people back then. What really kind of started it all was when I realized that there was a lot of 99 combat stats that no 10 HP account had gotten on old school yet. So I really kind of got into the groove when I went for 99 defense. And that was all at pest control back in the day. This was before all of the buffs that have now happened to pest control. I did intermediate boat, and I was getting 3 points a game, if I remember right. So it took me 600 hours, somewhere around there. It was around 25,000 pest points. And once I got that, that's when things really started to heat up, and I really started to devote a lot more time into my account. And then I started to rush some of my other goals that I had on the account.
Awesome. And then I guess one thing a lot of people are probably thinking, if they haven't heard of you before or if they want to get in the 10 HP gameplay style, what was your but if you were to do it all again, is there I guess you technically you have done it all again, so I'll rephrase my question. If you were to do it all again for the third time, whether it be an Iron Man or a main, what would you change? What would you like? What would you prioritize over anything else?
That's a good question. So when I made my UIM, the whole reason I made it is because I was a little burnt out on the main play style. Even though I was 10 HP, I still considered it a main. Um, I'd basically done everything I wanted to on that account, and a lot of the updates that were coming out were making a lot of the slow grinds very quick. I was just feeling a little bit devalued, even though that's part of the game. It was still a little frustrating. So I made the UIM. I literally thought about what is the most limited 10 HP account build I could possibly make. So I made a 10 HP UIM that is 1 defense, 1 prayer, 1 strength. So once I finish everything, I'll be 50 combat. And if I had to say, if anyone wanted to try out a 10 HP account, I would say give it a try because my God, it's the best game mode in the world. It's my favorite. There's so much that you can do that I feel like people don't realize, whether it's bossing, which is probably the biggest thing that people like to do on there, or it's PKing, or it's skilling. There's so many different things that you can do on a 10 HP account. It's very versatile, but you still get that limited feel that you would on, say, a level 3 skiller. So I'm a big advocate and I'm very biased, but I love 10 HP accounts. So if you wanted to try it out, I'd highly recommend it.
Fantastic. So I guess I kind of already covered previous achievements you're known for. If people who do know you probably know you as the like first 10 HP account ever to max. Like when you were getting close to that, was it something that you started working very hard for to be the first, or was it something that just kind of just kind of fell in your lap by accident?
I won't lie, it kind of fell into my lap on accident. Up until about the end. So I got around 2K total, and I had just finished all my combat stats, except for Slayer. But I'd finished all my combat stats, and I had never planned on maxing. That was never my plan ever from the beginning of the count. All I wanted to do was just combat stuff. But when I got around that 2K total, I realized that some of the other, I guess you would say, rank 1 10 HP accounts at the time, like P and Bed, Arptastic, some of those other high-level 10 HP accounts, they weren't training all their stats. I was really the only one at that time that was training all my stats to 99. So once I got to 2K total, I was like, shoot, man, this is wide open. So that's when I really started playing more, and I really started pushing for max. And it's a good thing I did try to max when I did, because it was not very long after that some other 10 HP accounts maxed right after me. So I really got lucky, to be honest. But I'm very fortunate. Very fortunate.
Awesome. So I want to go turn back the clock here. Let's look at the past and your initial introduction to the video game we all play, known of course as RuneScape. If you don't play RuneScape and you're watching this, I welcome, I guess. I don't know what else to say to you. So when did you start the game? What got you into playing RuneScape, whether it be you played during Classic or RS2 or whenever you started playing?
Yeah, so I want to hear your response to this question too, but I'm going to go first. So back in, I would say, mid 2000s, I'll be honest, I don't know the exact date. Somewhere around mid 2000s, my neighbor at the time played RuneScape. And I would go over to his house and I would ask him, I'd be like, what on earth are you playing? I've never heard of this game. And he showed me, and I remember playing on his account one day, just trying it out. And I really liked it. So I went home and I begged my parents to let me play it, and they let me download it on our old shitty computer we had in the living room, and I tried it out, and I really liked it. And really, ever since then, I just haven't stopped playing. The only time I really had a break from playing RuneScape since then was probably when EOC came out. I think a lot of people share that same feeling. It didn't feel like RuneScape anymore. So I did stop playing when that came out, but then it was the same exact thing as soon as Old School came out. I was right back into it. But I would like to hear your story because I don't know if I've heard this one yet.
Yeah, of course. I have told it like bits and parts of it as time has gone on. If you've watched all the casts, you'll have heard like the whole response. But okay, so the whole response was my brother started playing RuneScape, and he was like, he was playing this game, and I was a little brother, of course, so got to do everything your big brother does at the time. And that was probably 2007 or 6. What I do remember is that Hunter just came out. That was a new skill back then.
Yeah.
And I played that, and I was very bad, right? I remember my first account, the name was Buddy0010. And that was it. I think I played that account for short periods of time. I know, like, a lot of people like yourself say they just kept playing, but I was very also into, like, other stuff at the time, and my parents were pretty strict when it came to, like, time on the computer. So I never got far until eventually I got my own laptop. But or I would go to friends' houses and we would play a ton, and I had many accounts over the years. I still actually have one of my original accounts with, like, the username login.
Yeah.
Because I keep a spreadsheet of all my nowadays. I keep a spreadsheet of all my accounts, and I was able to recover it and finally get it back. And so that was pretty cool to have. It's pretty cool to even nowadays have a login account that has just like a regular name and not an email attached to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I played that for a long time, and then I remember, like, I think it was like 2010 or 11 when I had really gotten into the game. So, like, I started really enjoying the game at a very different time than other people, because many people think of 07, 08, 06 as the heyday. For me, it was 09 through 12. So a very different, like, experience, and I've actually been a skiller, like, the entire time. After I ruined my brother's PK account, and because he had a 1 defense PK account, and I got 10 defense on it because I thought black gold armor looked cool. And so sorry, Andy. I think about that and I regret it to this day. I do. And as time went on, I remember seeing a level 3 in, like, Varric West, the Grand Exchange, wherever it was, wearing a skill cape. And I was like, whoa, you can do that? And from that point on, I made a level 3. I would play it for 6 months. Obviously, because of my restrictions, I would only get like 50 or 60 base on it, maybe like a 70 or an 80 here and there. And then I would just, like, lose interest for a while because I wasn't able to, get a level every day like I used to. And then eventually the time came when I said, well, I gotta buckle down and just do something. So the first, like, project account I ever did was I wanted an untrimmed farming cape at, like, a low base total level. So I did that. Yeah. I remember waking up. I used to when I would go to middle school, I would always wake up early, like 2 hours early. Me and my mom would, like, breakfast, watch Malcolm in the Middle, and I would do a farm run, and then, like, whatever else I was doing that morning. And then I would come home and instantly just be like, okay, time to continue on with, like, dailies that I can get farming XP for, or, like, do something else that's not going to give me a lot of XP, but it'll make me some money. Stuff like that. And then I finished that account, and then I did a same thing with an agility account, and then I had a free-to-play skiller for a while, and then around 2014, late 2014, it was like, I think it was a little bit before Iron Man came out officially. I was playing the game with my roommate now, who I worked with at the time. He was telling me that, he was going to get 99 rune crafting this summer. And I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna be playing the whole time then to make sure you stick to it. And I end up, like, playing a lot on that account. That was actually the first account I ever, like, not the first account I ever made in old school, because I made an account on day 1. I was there in old school on day 1. Yeah, it was don't forget that genie.
I'm gonna dismiss him. Continue.
I'm not gonna continue the story unless you grab that genie.
Well, too late. I'm already jumping.
Oh no. So, sorry for the distraction, like a, squirrel moment.
He's bye. Okay.
And, where was I? Talking about, shoot.
You talked about rune crafting. You got, you rune crafting with the roommate.
Okay, yeah, he was rune crafting, and at that point I was like everybody else. I didn't like rune crafting. I've obviously since changed my my tune on that skill, as many people know. But then time went on. Iron Man came out. I jumped on the Iron Man bandwagon. The hardcore, make a hardcore. And then eventually, my current main, I have the third account that I occasionally log into whenever I like win money for skilling competitions or whatever it is. Just my mule at this point, or my ult to help me kill things if I ever need that. I just stopped playing that, and I wanted to do something cool in the game before I finally quit. Because I was like, I'm getting bored of this game, just tired. I was just doing other things at the time. And then, so I made the account Mayfield that you see now. I actually had the RSN on a different account, and I moved it over to this one.
Good choice. I like the name.
Yeah, no, I've had the name for a very long time. And it was one of those names like I have some other RSNs that I really like, and I could have chosen from a few other ones, but this was the one that really stuck out to me that I was like, this is the one, and I haven't changed it since. And then I wanted to make this an account. It was basically exclusively going to be a trophy account for rune crafting. I wanted to get 99 rune crafting and then go for top page in UIM. And then in my head, I was like, well, I haven't played a level 3 in a while. Why don't I just play it as level 3? Why don't I just do that then? And then I did that, and then COVID happened, and suddenly I had all of this time to put into this game. And then I was reignited to continue on, and I hit top page, and I just kept going and going. And I was like, well, I want to do 200 mil. And then as time went on, I started to meet other iron skillers, and I started to be like, well, these other people, like, it was weird because, like, at the time, the only other person that I knew of, the only two people I knew of that were playing UIM skillers that were even remotely close in regards to, well, I was remotely close in regards to where they were in the game, was Rez's and mid-level Skilla. Those, like, I was, and then there was, I think, Leveler Thrust, who had been the first level 3 UIM to max.
Yep.
And besides those guys, and like you had a couple other outliers out there that didn't play anymore, but as of active players, it was us three. And I was like the noob. But even then, people who would meet me in the game would be like, you're insane. Like, do you hate yourself? And then I was like, I just need to keep going. I need to...
Yeah, people see UIM and they're just like, oh, it doesn't matter really what your stats are. They just see UIM and some high level skills and they're like, wow, you're insane.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, no, you just don't understand the game mode because it's really not as bad as you think.
Exactly. And that's the thing. I think nowadays with like how much post XP I've gotten past in some of the skills, that's where people are like, what the hell is wrong with you?
Mm-hmm.
It's mostly when they see, like, when I wear my untrimmed rune crafting cape with like 30 mil RC, that's when people were like, are you okay?
Yep.
But otherwise, like, that's kind of like the story, and that's the story so far, if you will, of where all this came from. And then obviously, you know, I've actually always done, you saw one of my really old YouTube channels from when I was like 15, 16, on my old really shitty laptop. And I've always had an interest in doing content creation, but never had like the capability. And then I got into PC building, and now I can kind of do whatever I want on the computer because it can handle pretty much anything I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So here we are. Was that satisfactory?
Oh, that was very satisfying. I feel like I know you much more now.
Well, now I have a rebuttal question for you.
Okay.
What do you think about the mortality of man and how we live through it each day without going psychologically insane?
I'm so glad I dismissed that genie earlier.
What does that have to do with the answer to the question?
Next question. Thank you.
As when it comes to updates for the kind of accounts we play, so 10 HP, level 3, UIM in general, I guess. The content that me and you specifically and other people of our caliber, as well as just normie level 3s and 10 HPs can access, is not few, but like a lot of the updates we don't get to experience the same way. Like my roommate said to me the other day, I was outside having a cigarette, and he was like, "Dude, Desert Church 2 was so sick." I'm like, "Yeah, that's cool." And he looked at me. He's like, "What's it like to just not do the new updates and just be like, I can't wait to log in and go click some flyers?" And I was like, honestly, feels great. No stress.
Yep. That's the life we chose, right?
Exactly. So, looking backwards on some updates that have come into old school, obviously besides the initial update of old school RuneScape, what have been some of your favorite updates to come into the game that we have been able to access that you have had the most fun with?
Yeah, that's a good question because specifically with 10 HP accounts, there have been a lot of very game-breaking updates that have come out for our builds specifically. Because what will happen is Jagex will update something and they won't even, especially back in the day, they weren't even thinking about limited builds and the effects that it would have on them. So there was a lot of stuff that was kind of like missed basically. They didn't think about. The number one example that I think of is the Serp Helm from back in the day. That was probably my favorite update that they did. And when it got nerfed, it was, well, first off, it should have been nerfed. It was a good thing it did get nerfed, right? But it was really fun while it was pre-patch. So to catch people up for, if you don't remember, back in the day, the Serp Helm, you could inflict damage on an NPC without actually having to attack. If you would just let the NPC attack you, over time there would be a chance for them to venom, and you'd get the kill credit. So it basically unlocked every single piece of content as long as we could get there. There was things like, most notably was the Fire Cape. 10 HP Fire Cape was a really big thing back in the day. Other things like you could solo bosses. Like I remember soloing KBD on a 10 HP account. Those types of things that you think about nowadays is just simply not possible. But back in the day was very fun and not a lot of people knew about it. So I'd say Serp Helm was definitely up there with one of my favorite updates. In terms of updates that I didn't like, there's been some really game-breaking updates to our efficiency for our skilling. Most notably, the one in the last couple years was Soul Wars. Soul Wars has absolutely shattered all of our combat training methods for 10 HP accounts with rates pushing up near 200k. Like I think max is around 178k an hour,
Mm-hmm.
which is insane. I leveled up my original account at 25k an hour, and now here we are at 178k an hour.
Well, and I would say like one thing about Soul Wars 2 is like I don't think they realized like with the because obviously boosting wasn't a thing right away. It was something people figured out, right?
Correct, yeah.
So I don't think in their minds people thought that. I think Jagex doesn't always think about how intuitive some people are in this game and how far they will go to break it to get what they want, and not even in like a malicious way. Like, you know, I think about methods like the first person who discovered like real tick manipulation. People who discovered like 1.5 tick was a thing, because obviously everybody thought 3 tick was a thing, and then when 2 tick stuff came out with birds on Monkey Madness Island, everybody went crazy.
Oh my goodness, yeah, I remember. I know Autumn Elegy wasn't the one who discovered it, but I remember he was the first video of it I saw, and I remember reading all the comments, just talking about how it was so sweaty and why would you want to do this and this is so stupid. And it's crazy how the mentality of skilling and efficiency has kind of changed over the years, because now people praise that kind of content and they look forward to that kind of content. It's really interesting to see how that has changed over the years.
Absolutely. All right, back to your Soul Wars thing. Sorry, I just wanted to like highlight that from my point of view too, because as somebody who doesn't do that kind of stuff, it was like insane to watch the progression of like how people broke Soul Wars and how, yeah, like you said, now it's insane XP an hour once you have everything set up properly.
Yeah, Soul Wars is a very interesting minigame in itself, because when you play it normally, like how it's supposed to be played, it's not that good of XP an hour. It's probably slower than actually doing pest control nowadays with all those buffs that minigame has gotten. But as soon as you start going into that other side of Soul Wars, where you can boost or you can play against another team, then you really start to dive into where that method kind of is nowadays. It started off, people didn't know how to boost properly or efficiently. Originally, how it would be is your alt would kill those forgotten souls on the island, and they would just let the soul fragments sit on the ground until they popped up for the 10 HP. And I believe the video that I saw for that was around 150 zeal an hour, which translates to like half the XP an hour that it currently is a day. So like under 100k. Eventually, people figured out that you can actually kill your alt. So he can kill all the forgotten souls, get all the fragments, and then you can actually kill him. And then the fragments will instantly drop to the ground. You can do that a lot quicker. So then people started pushing more towards around 300 zeal an hour. And then over time, after I don't want to say just me because it wasn't me alone who found this method, but I did do 99 attack on my UIM recently, and I had a lot of time to test out Soul Wars, and we found some other small things such as you get an extra point if you're an Iron Man because you get a kill credit for killing your alt. You get an extra point if you wait a certain amount of time. You get an extra point if you kill your alt on the center island of the minigame, which is super weird. We found like little things like that, right? And eventually we are to where it is nowadays, where if you're an Iron Man, you can get around 372, I believe is the max zeal you can get an hour, which is at 178k at 99. So it is really crazy to see how far it's come. And while I say that's an update I didn't like, I won't lie, the theory crafting and the figuring out the method was very enjoyable, and I really enjoyed going for 99 attack. I think I just need to get into that mentality that the game will have a power creep in that sense. The game will get quicker and faster. And I think I just need to come to terms with that because the method itself is pretty enjoyable, to be honest. It's high effort, high reward, which is how skilling should be. So
Awesome. And well, I actually have a big question for you, but I have one more small thing before that. You've talked about the differences between you playing the UIM and the main 10 HP. Do you ever wish you had played UIM sooner, or are you extremely happy with how everything went with Teaks and then the path you went on after that?
I'd say I'm pretty happy with the path it ended up going. Maxing Teaks was a pretty big accomplishment for me. I've never maxed account ever. I've never had a max cape. I've never done anything like that. So it's kind of cool that my first quote unquote maxed account was a 10 HP one. It was really nice to get done. I had been working on that account for a very long time, and it was very fulfilling to finish that. And I feel like that is the natural progression, is to finish a goal on your first account, and then once you've reached where you want to be, then you can branch out and explore other game modes. Now playing UIM, I feel really odd playing a regular account. It just doesn't feel the same. I don't see myself ever focusing on any other account other than a UIM at this point, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So I think with us both being, a couple skilly boys, I think we gotta poke the topic with a stick, and that is of course new skill, most likely going to be sailing. What are your initial thoughts? What were your initial thoughts when they pulled the 3 skills? So we had, for those who don't remember, we had I'm actually forgetting. We had taming. We had I almost said forestry. We had sailing and shamanism. That's what it was.
Yep.
So of those 3 pitches, which was your initial that like pulled you, if any at all?
My initial vote was sailing. That's what I voted on the poll. That's been my favorite, or the one I saw the most potential with, ever since they talked about the 3. Hell, I thought it'd been cool if sailing would have been released back when they teased it on that April Fool's way back. I don't even know how long. I thought that'd been really cool. Obviously, the game wasn't ready for a skill, but either way. In terms of the other 2, shamanism scared me because it reminded me a lot of summoning from RuneScape 3. Taming just didn't feel natural, and it felt like we already had that aspect with pets and just hunter as it is as a skill.
Yeah.
So sailing felt like the only one by itself that would actually fit into the game. And I think the main appeal for me and many others with sailing is the expansion that you can get with that skill. It's not like a skill that we've ever had on this game, and I'm very curious to see what they do with it. But I think it can lead to so much more content in a wide variety of content, whether it's low or high level content. There's so much potential with what you could do with sailing. And that's why I got my vote, and that's why I'm excited to see where it goes in the future.
Awesome. And I know you've asked before, so I'll just go ahead and give you my initial pitch on those three when I got them as well. So
Yeah, let's hear it.
for me, taming was just like everybody else. It was just flat. In my opinion, taming could very easily be one of the best farming updates in the game. Right? Like you like there's did you ever play RS3?
Not too much, to be honest. Not too much.
So you didn't play when you could have like your own farm and you could have like your own animals in the farm and you could like breed animals and stuff like that?
I won't lie, it doesn't even sound like RuneScape.
Yeah, no, that's a thing. You can like
Wow.
you have your own farm. You can breed animals. You can breed chinchompas and spiders and all that stuff. And yeah,
Wow. Okay. All right. Didn't know that.
yeah. I watch RS3 content, so I see people do this like now, but it's
Gotcha.
been in the game for a while. So for me,
Okay.
taming felt like farming / hunter style expansion. My initial thought of sailing was this is another RS3 question now. Did you ever do player-owned ports?
I did not know. I won't lie to you. I'm also not familiar with that.
So player-owned ports is basically like you tell your ships to go do stuff. You can get upgraded crew members and all that stuff. But basically, it's like you send them off to do things, and they come back.
Mhm.
And you had to have at least level 90 in like it was like runecrafting, smithing, thieving, or like a couple of skills. Like there was like a bunch of skills. If you had 90 in it, then you unlocked ports. And basically, it was like you send things off, and they bring you back resources that you work in the ports. You can use the resources from the ports to make stuff. There was like this insanely high level. I think it was like range or mage armor that came from it. It was like tier 90 armor that came from it. So everybody did ports.
Mhm.
I don't really know exactly what else rewards came from it. I just know like that was one of them at the time. And that is why sailing scared me. I just didn't want it to be a copy paste player-owned ports plus some separate mechanics in there that were, like you just tell them to go find you an island. Once you find the island, you can go explore it. I wanted it. I didn't want them to take the player-owned ports influence.
And that's fair. That's definitely fair.
And for me, shamanism was what I voted for. I really like shamanism because
Interesting. So yeah, tell me why.
I love invention. Did you ever do invention?
No, but I am a little bit more familiar with that skill. But please give me a rundown because I'm sure I don't know all of it.
It's been a very long time, but the basic idea behind invention is augmenting weaponry, breaking down items to get their parts, using those parts to create things to augment your weapons, and like skilling items and all that stuff. So you would like augment I think one of the fastest methods for a while was people would augment I think it was like a Darok's axe. And then once you do a certain amount of like actions with it, or like hit a certain amount of like hits, I don't remember exactly how it worked. I could be completely wrong on this, but it would hit level 10. Once it hit level 10, you dismantle it and you get an insane amount of XP, right? But that's not what invention did for me. Invention did for me because it made resources that didn't matter. It gave them a reason to exist. Because everything gave components. The weirdest things, like bowstrings, would give like a really good component people would need. So, or not bowstrings, it was like some really weird thing you would get from like a boss. And then if you broke it down, it would give you these rare components that people needed. So suddenly, some bosses became more profitable. There were skilling methods that became super good because like, I think it was like same thing like when summoning came out. It gave like swamp lizards and all that stuff. It gave them purpose, aside from just being something to drop after you were done with the after you caught them.
Mm-hmm.
It basically gave more purpose to the economic standpoint of RS3, because as people who played back then, the economy was insane. Like if you had a couple $100 million, you were poor. Like you basically like it's insane. The OS economy to me is still in like a pretty for lack of better terminology, piss poor place in I'll say that 5 times fast in regards to certain things. And like obviously my perspective is only what I see from other things like videos or friends who play main, that kind of stuff. because I don't play like that. I don't obviously I play Ultimate Iron Man, but just because I play the certain game mode does not mean I don't keep up with everything else. I'm a serial blog reader. I always pay attention to like prices and all that stuff because it just interests me. Everything about this game interests me now, so I just keep up. But that's why shamanism was the most intriguing to me, was because to me it was the most similar to invention in the way that I thought they could use already created items. So say like you needed, I don't know, like a bronze plate body and then a bowstring and then, I don't know, a raw chicken. And that would like, you could use that in shamanism for something. They would it would start to give value to things that didn't matter before.
And that's fair. See, when you explain it like that, right, it sounds pretty cool. It sounds like it'd be good for the game, good for the economy. Do you think it would have translated that well to old school, though?
No.
I agree.
I think if they were going to translate invention to old school, they would have to just make invention in old school. I don't think after other people's opinions on shamanism came out and I had done more reading on it, I actually regretted voting for it, and I wish I had voted for sailing. However, of those three, I would have liked to have a different pitch.
Yeah, and I think that's fair to say.
I would have liked like 2 or 3 sets of 3 skills, and then like work a little bit on the 3 that won, and then have a 3-way like battle royale, if you will. But obviously, pitching 9 skills, that's a lot.
Yeah, it would have been a lot on the devs, that's for sure. Even if it is just pitching skills, right? You still got to do some work to come up with ideas, and I'm sure it'd be a lot of time to do that. But I do get what you mean, though, because I feel like there could have been more that could have came with a new skill that we never got to explore, because they just kind of gave us 3 almost bare bone type skills and was like, all right, what do you think is the best? And I think some of them could have been explored a little bit more, or there could have been new skills altogether, like you said. So, yeah, I do see what you mean by that, and I agree.
And I think another big thing, too, is like in the blog post initially, they had mentioned that like even if a skill wins here, we're still going to explore other options and give you other options. And that hasn't ever crossed the table yet. And it's been months.
No, that's not going to happen.
Because like in the initial blog post, they didn't talk about shamanism or taming at all. It was like, how do you feel about these? Like I did like that huge survey you did when it talked about like what type of skill do you want to see? What type of pitches do you like from the community? Because I think they had like caveman only, and the other guys was like bard skill pitch. They had like an engineering skill, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I think we could have gotten a better pitch. And in saying that, I hope sailing succeeds. I will of course train it. There's like no way around it. I will be getting 99. Obviously, depending on how good it is for certain things, maybe even 200 mil.
Yeah, that's going to be the interesting part, and I think that a lot of people are nervous about when it comes to any new skill, is I'm a little nervous about how it's going to affect other skills. I don't like the idea of having to do a large amount of one skill just to be able to do one skill, like efficiently.
Yeah.
And I'm a little nervous that sailing might be something like that, but I guess we'll have to kind of see.
I could definitely foresee sailing being like if you don't do 99 sailing first, you're stupid, because it gives you passive XP and all these other skills. You'll get to like base 60s and all these other skills, and it just bumps you right up to everything else, and with like no time loss.
And I'm also curious what the skill requirements for other skills is going to be to do sailing efficiently. Like, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how they do it. It's going to be complicated, but we'll see what happens.
I hope they don't make them. I hope they make them intertwined, but not like in the way where invention was, where you had to have, it was like a quote unquote master skill. So you had to have 80 in smithing, divination, and rune crafting, I think, to do it.
I get what you mean.
Yeah. So, but we've looked at the dark side a little bit. So let's look at the light at the end of the tunnel. What are some things about sailing and a new skill in general that really excite you, that get you hyped to like on release day? Like, I can't wait to try it out.
Well, I think the number one thing is I have a maxed account. It's not 200 mil all, but it's still maxed, and I don't really play it that much. It's mostly just AFK. I think it'll be really fun to, on the day of release, get back on that account and explore a new skill. We haven't been able to do that since the release of Old School. So I think it'll be really cool to get back on some old accounts and have competitive ranks open again. I know, especially people who are 200 mil all, like rank one is wide open again. So that will be really interesting to see as well. And just the hype that comes with the new skill, all the streams, the content that you can make with it. It's just gonna be really exciting to be a part of. Honestly, I think that's the biggest thing I'm excited for. Not necessarily like I'm dying to do another 99 skill or another 200 mil on a skill. I just think it will bring more hype to the game. And I think that's a healthy thing.
Oh, absolutely. I absolutely agree with everything you just said. Does it worry you that it paves the way for potentially more skills? Or would you be excited if we got like a new skill, like, I guess, every 10 years, because that's kind of what we're at right now.
I feel like that's a good amount of time to have in between having new skills. I think as much as I would like for the game to stay how it is or to stay how it was earlier when Old School came out, I don't think the game is sustainable without bigger updates like this. And as much as it hurts my nostalgia to not have the game stay the same, I still think it's important. So whatever they end up doing, I think as long as it brings healthy attention to the game without running away old players, I think it's going to be good, and I think I'll be excited for whatever they have.
And that brings me into probably one of the most controversial questions that comes from the high level community and people in general. Polling system. There's been a lot of talk about removing it, like, from the community. What would you think about that? Do you trust the developers enough to do things on their own?
No.
Or no, you don't really.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but that's a hard no.
No, you didn't cut me off. You basically answered the whole question.
Yeah, so let me explain a little bit because I don't mean no entirely, right? I
Please,
do agree that the
yes.
poll system is a little flawed in the fact that they are just going to push whatever they want no matter what. So I feel like if something fails or they're going to word a question a certain way, whatever I feel like whatever the JMods want to be in the game, they will find a way in some aspect to have that in the game no matter what, without the polling system or not. With that being said, the most alarming thing that I've ever experienced in this game was when they were talking about having like official limited account builds. Are you familiar with when they were talking about this?
Yes, I was. Yes, yes, I
Okay.
am.
Yeah, this all hell broke loose when this was talked about. I run a 10 HP Discord, and there was a JMod in our Discord trying to explain to our entire community how they were going to completely fuck all of our builds. And literal all hell was breaking loose. I mean, the outrage was insane. And I'm talking probably 50% of the community that was in that Discord, including myself, would have quit the game on the spot if something like that did come out. So that alone in itself was so alarming and so awakening for me that it's a very good thing, at least at this point in the game, that there is a polling system, or at the very least that the JMods listen a little bit to player feedback, right? If they would have went through with that, it would have been devastating to limited accounts across the board.
I absolutely agree with that. I think the initial pitch, like, I think before they started to explain it and really tell us how they were going to mess with everything, it sounded kind of cool. But then they were like, oh, you'll be able to opt out of XP here and there, all that stuff. And
yeah,
that's when I was like, okay. So you're telling me I can just bring a cannon and go do Slayer, then that's all I have to do?
or you can do any quest, or you can just go hit any monster, or literally anything. It completely ruins every limited account there is. It doesn't matter what type of limited account you are. It completely ruins it. It was mind blowing that that was even in discussion. I just don't understand it.
Yeah.
Like think about nowadays too. The amount of people that play some type of limited account. think about the content on YouTube that is the most popular. You have the chunk mans, the area locked accounts. You have all these one defense builds, 10 HP builds, level threes, whatever it may be, right? Those are the most popular content right now. It's not high level PVM. It's not PKing. It's the limited accounts. Like, I don't think they understood how devastating that update would have been if they would have went through with it for the game as a whole.
Damn, I honestly like, the more I think about it, the more like besides like your big names like your Bodhi and your Foe, your Mr. Mammal, those kind of guys who do like just the main hardcore group Iron Man or Iron Man content.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, obviously he's settled. He all of his videos are like crazy weird limited account builds, and I think he's the most subscribed to RuneScape YouTuber.
I believe he is now, yeah.
And then you've got Limpwort, who did the Extreme One Chunk, and blew up, right? And like obviously there was other One Chunks before him, and there's been others after him, but he's kind of like one of the most notable because of the Extreme rule set. I think he was like the first one to do that, and how people are just like pulling things to the next level. And yeah, I feel like every week I see a new like limited account build series come out that has like 10,000 views within like the first couple days of it showing up, because people are just like, I wonder how this is going to work.
Yeah, if you make an area locked account or a chunk man and slap a Blender intro on there, I mean, you will instantly get tens of thousands of views. It does not matter.
Currently hiring a Blender editor?
I'm telling you, it's because that's what people want to watch. That the game has gotten to a point where that is what is most interesting, because it hasn't been done that often, right? It's new stuff. And yeah, it just that in itself really scared me for the whole polling and not having a poll thing. But either way, I do think there is an argument for not having a poll system. But that's my overall opinion on that.
Awesome. I think I like to bring that up. I've never brought that up before, but like it's been something I've noticed very recently, as of late, of being a very hot topic.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything that you have also noticed recently that has popped up that you're like, that you want to just talk about in general? Anything that you can think of that whether it be in your circles or you've seen videos on? I have one more I want to go through, but I want to see if you have anything else.
Yeah, I got two things that come to mind, and we'll start with the one probably everyone knows about. Have you read the Forestry Part 2 blog that they posted?
Oh my god.
All right, so I'll take that as a yes, and that was my exact reaction as well.
I watched, I actually haven't read the blog fully. I watched Heybox's video on it.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
It's really scary, to be honest. You know how we were talking earlier about sailing and how I mentioned how I don't want to have to do sailing just to do another skill efficiently?
Yeah.
It's the same idea with Forestry Part 2. I don't want to have to buy things from a forestry shop to be able to do a gathering skill efficiently. I don't want to have to buy sawmill vouchers from the forestry shop to be able to train construction efficiently. Like there's a difference between buying a one-time thing such as like a plank sack, a log basket, a coal bag, whatever it may be, right? That helps make another skill more efficient. But to have a temporary boost that I consistently have to keep going back to doing a skill and buying from a shop just to do another skill efficiently is not a route I want this game to go down at all.
No, I absolutely agree. I think the whole T thing, I like what Heybox had mentioned in regards to like changing, maybe giving it a small chance at, an extra resource here or there, that kind of stuff. And but even then he was like, that's like if you really have to keep it, but otherwise just dump the whole thing.
Yeah, Forestry as a whole should be scrapped, in my opinion. I think Part 1 did its job. I still think there's some things that are inherently wrong with it, but Part 1 in itself is enough. Scrap the leaves, scrap everything in that shop that's pointless, maybe change a couple events, leave it how it is. You got the log basket, you got a pet transmog, you got a new outfit, and woodcutting is more AFK and social. Why do we need to make it more complicated than that? Just leave it at that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think and I don't think anybody thought it would be as bad as it actually like they did. I hope like it's and as we've seen from many examples in the world in the world of Gillinor, if you will, there is not too late to go back and fix things.
Mm-hmm.
Like how long did they wait for the Zulrah loot table update? How long did they wait until they moved the dragon short sword and throwing axes out of Chambers of Zarek and into something like more chill than that? Like,
yep.
How long did they wait to give us like CM in regards to Chambers of Zarek? Like, obviously these are PVM things I'm talking about, but like, you get what I mean. Like, it's never too late to go back and change things. But once you implement it, it will be there for a short period of time, and people can. I mean, we saw with the update when Forestry Edition came out, people were getting 500 XP an hour.
Yeah, ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Yeah. Forestry is just a frustrating update all around. I think it appeals to the casuals, which is not a bad thing. Not a bad thing. But the way it's going now with part 2 is very alarming.
Absolutely. And then you said you had another thing you wanted to mention?
Yeah, of course. So this is on a little bit of different topic. This is specific to 10 HP accounts. Something that was interesting is that I was brought to attention the power of the Slayer Cape perk that I feel like a lot of people don't know about. So everyone knows with the Slayer Cape, one of the perks is that you get a chance to reroll your tasks that you currently had.
Plus
the other perk,
you can use any Slayer Master any combat level.
Okay, so what a lot of people also don't realize is that the higher level Slayer Masters, almost every single task has a combat requirement. So if you go in with a low combat level account and get 99 Slayer and get the perk and go to a higher Slayer Master such as Neve, it is possible to only have one Slayer task assigned. And the one Slayer task is the fastest XP an hour one, or the second fastest. It's cow fights. So there is this very interesting niche part of the 10 HP community right now that is working on very low combat 10 HP accounts that are planning to push Slayer to a very high level past 99 because they can get insane XP rates.
What do you classify as insane in that scenario?
There's people wanting to get 200 mil Slayer.
No, I mean like as far as XP per hour.
So if you have prayer, you can get around 54, 55k an hour Slayer XP.
That is really good.
On a 10 HP account. If you don't have prayer, you can get somewhere around 24, 25k XP an hour, which is still insane. For context, right now, if you're quested perfectly, but you're not like the low combat build, Neve is somewhere around like 40 to 45k an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So, but either way, that is also perfectly quested, and no one is perfectly quested because they've changed the Slayer requirements for a lot of tasks over the years, and no one's made a recent new 10 HP account that actually is perfectly quested. Anyway, the whole concept, though, of a low 10 HP account only getting cow fight task is something that was very interesting to me, and I can't believe I didn't know about it for so long.
What's the combat requirement for like what threshold can you not pass?
Yeah, hold on. I can check real quick. All right, so it depends on what Slayer Master you're going to use.
So we're going to go with Neve because that's what you've been using so far.
Mm-hmm. So Neve, you can be 59 combat is the highest you can be. If you are 59 combat or lower, you can do that, and you have to have 99 Slayer as well.
So what you're saying is when you finish 99 Slayer, you'll be able to do this?
Yes.
Does that excite you, or does that?
I think it does. Yeah, honestly. one of the other 10 HP UIMs that I talk to all the time, their name is Tranquil, or Tranquilizer in game, and they're the one that actually told me about the method, and they've done a lot of theory crafting with it. They played a 10 HP account in RS3, if I'm not mistaken, so they're very, very knowledgeable on the game mode. But that is their goal. Their goal is just to push Slayer past 99 to see what they can do on a UIM. And the way they're going to do that is Cal Fights only add Konar.
Why Konar?
So with Konar, you get the Brimstone keys,
And
you get
okay,
a lot of good loot on the way to 200 mil.
and you can get steel bars back.
Yeah, it's honestly not that much in the long run, but talking like over 1 bill in GP from 200 mil Slayer, just from the keys you get from Cal Fight soldiers. So
Wow.
it's a very interesting concept. It's something it's now the meta to not train your combats to 99 and to get 200 mil Slayer at 59 combat or lower, and then train your combats the rest of the way. It's a very interesting concept.
And that's if you, of course, you're going for 200 mils, which for some people is still like an insanity goal.
Yeah, no one's done it on a 10 HP account. No one has trained any of their. The only person that has somewhat pushed the boundaries of combat 200 mils is P in bed. Believe he's done 200 mil prayer, magic, and he's working on range right now. But the interesting part about his account is that he's not doing Slayer for range. He's just at Dagonos. So I don't know if he has intentions of ever getting 200 mil all on a 10 HP account.
If he's just doing Dagonots, it doesn't sound like it.
Yeah, I would think not, because that is a huge waste of XP in the long run if you were doing 200 mil all. So
Yeah.
but I'm not sure. That's also an interesting concept. The idea of 200 mil all on a 10 HP account is very interesting.
And that's sort of all like just basically like only the skills you can train, I guess. Because obviously with Purrverse, you can only do attack, magic, and range. So I mean, for you, attack would probably be your most challenging. No, probably still be Slayer, even with that method, because attack is still faster.
100% Slayer.
Or Herblore, I guess. But I guess if you're doing a bunch of Slayer, you're going to get a bunch of herbs.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what the like relative XP an hour comes out to for herb with how limited we are in collecting herbs. But I know between making cannonballs and then only getting 24k an hour Slayer XP at post 99, Slayer is probably still slower.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, that's a very interesting thing to think about.
Yeah, either way, I don't want to talk too much about it because I'll really get going. But please share what was your one thing that you want to talk about with this.
So the last thing I wanted to bring up when it came to current topics in the community and kind of things that I want to expand on with somebody else is, do you watch No Monkey at all?
Absolutely.
Have you seen his newest video, the 30-minute one he put out about the about like updates and all that stuff?
Yes, it was about PVM specifically, correct?
It was geared towards PVM, yes, but he also made another really good point in there, and that is currently, as you mentioned earlier with forestry, Jagex is currently kind of giving a little bit more catering towards the casual player base because they want the introduction of new players in the game, which of course for everybody is good.
Of course.
However, what he said really struck a nerve with me, not in a bad way, in a very good way. And that was, he mentioned in the video, in doing this, you are isolating the players like me and you or other people who have been playing the game for a long time. We have the dedication, we have the loyalty, we have the time spent. And we are looking for things that are going to itch our brains and keep us coming back, and not just woodcutting is fun now. Because if pretty much anybody who does tournament woodcutting, unless you like 1.5 tick Teaks, for them that's like I do AFK Redwoods at work and eventually I got 200 mil. Like that was it for people.
Yeah.
But like, what is your take on that? Do you think that we are not getting enough high tier content in the game to keep the people who are at that level satiated? or do you think like we are at a good level for that? Because I think one thing you mentioned too was the Desert Treasure 2 bosses. 3 of them were not great, but the Leviathan Awakened was like some of the best piece of content he's seen in a long time. But there's no incentive to keep killing the Awakened bosses besides getting the Blood Torva upgrade piece.
Yeah, so it's interesting because obviously me and you both, we play limited accounts, right? So the content that we already have access to is already limited in itself. And a lot of the new content that comes out normally doesn't have a drastic effect on us or doesn't really change our gameplay that much. Doesn't really unlock anything new.
Yeah.
So I'll answer this from not a limited account perspective, just as a whole. I don't think there has been enough true high-level content released. I think there needs to be more of a balance between them. I'm not saying one is better than the other because appealing to the casual player and also appealing to the high-level player are equally important. I just think there needs to be a better balance. I think the high-level content, in quotation marks, that they say they've been releasing hasn't been high-level enough. And I feel as if it has turned more, all the updates have been more casually focused. So I would say that there should be more high-level content. Yes, that'd be my take on that.
And what kind of content, like, say, I mean, even just for like the 10 HP UIM that you like, not the 10 HP UIMs, that just a regular 10 HP account, like, what kind of high level content would you like to see the most? Do you want to see more like reason to get skills past 80? Like, there's a lot of methods and a lot of skills that are not good. I like when people get to 82, you get anglerfish. Anglerfish is not good XP an hour.
Mm-hmm.
When you get to what is it, 90, like 75 on woodcutting, magics are not good XP an hour.
Yeah.
You only unlock a good AFK method at Redwoods at 90. And then obviously agility, which we're doing right now, is kind of, we're flatlined at 90 with agility. Obviously, unless you have Sepulchre, which is 92. But I would like to see more like reason for people using the skills to do other things, right? And that's like, it's hard because so many of the gatherers fall behind the wayside in regards to the reasoning for leveling up. It feels like there's no reason to go past a certain level at some point for main accounts unless you just want the max cape.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel as if I think it's good to have high skill content that is good for, say, good GP an hour or good AFK. And I think there could be more of that. But I do like the idea that the higher skill content is normally a little bit slower, but you make more money. But the lower skill content is more click intensive and it's quick, right? It's fast XP an hour, but you're not getting as much profit. Like that trade-off, I think, is a good, healthy game balance. I think there could be maybe a little bit more variety with it, but I do like that the faster XP in hours aren't just because it's a high level skill. It should be about the effort that you put into it. Does that make sense?
No, it absolutely makes sense. And there's a small piece of me that agrees with you. I guess I would just like to see the skill tab more fleshed out, with more options.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's lower level options that give me better XP or good XP still, but like, I don't know. I feel like we're missing so much in regards to like the potential for new skilling content that's not just a mini game or a quote unquote skilling boss.
Okay, so question for you. One skill that they've done a lot with is mining. What are your thoughts on kind of like where mining is right now in terms of that?
I think mining has an extremely healthy balance of a multitude of things.
Mm-hmm.
It's got your high AFK amethyst. It's got your high tier, really good GP an hour. Well, I guess nowadays not that good anymore, but back in the day, mining rune rocks was really good GP an hour. I guess not really good, but it was good enough. Of course, for like low level, you got power mining iron or 3-tick iron. Once you hit that point, you get 3-tick 4G. If you don't like the intensity of 3-tick 4G, but you want a good XP an hour, you've got volcanic mine. If you want decent XP and decent money, you've got blast mine. If you want mediocre money and kind of AFK without amethyst, you got motherlode mine. I guess I would say mining is probably one of the only skills I see in a relatively healthy location in regards to that. Because as far as woodcutting, as we've talked about a couple times, you have basically do whatever you can until Teaks, and then do Teaks.
Yep.
Obviously, there's other things in there. You got Suliceps if you really want to do that. You got Redwoods if you want to be AFK, but otherwise, you're going to cut teak trees from 35 to 200 mil. That's what you're going to do.
Yep. So I guess what my whole point for bringing that up, right, is that I feel like the gatherers themselves, I think, are in a pretty good spot. I think there's a lot of variety throughout the entire progression up the skill, and there's trade-offs for a lot of different methods. I think the skills that maybe could use more work are kind of like your buyables, excuse me. So not even necessarily just buyables though. The more I look at it, like I think of thieving. I think of
like utility
crafting.
skills.
I think of herb lore. Yeah, exactly. Because other than artifacts, knights, and pyramid plunder, there's not a whole lot with thieving. Same with crafting. You just craft the highest tier thing. Or herb lore, there's a little bit more variety with herb lore, I guess. But you get what I'm saying, though. I think those are the skills where there could be more different methods that could be released that could change the skill for the better. I think the gatherers, though, are in a pretty good spot.
That's fair. So, like, in regards to, like, herb lore, maybe not just cleaning herbs or making potions to gain XP, but there's, like, something else?
Yeah, and to be honest, I don't know what that would be. I really don't.
I was just going to ask you any ideas.
Yeah, and I don't particularly have any ideas, to be honest. I haven't really thought about it too much, but I do know just herb lore in itself is a pretty straightforward skill, and there's not a lot of variety to it. I feel like I'm doing other skills most of the time I'm training herb lore because I'm just collecting everything. But either way.
No, I totally get it. I think one of the other skills that I would like to see get more love is also Hunter. Even though Hunter, I feel like, has gotten some pretty decent love in the past, I think right now we're at the point of black chins, basically. And if you have the diary done, private and area red chins, that is kind of like that's kind of like it. Like you have herbivore, and that's decent. But basically, once you hit 80, it's either herbivore or you do chins.
Yep.
I think
By the way, just speaking on that real quick, did you see JCW's somewhat recent speedrun video where he talked about gray chins?
Yeah, I did.
Very interesting.
Exactly, and it's like, if not for his content, who would have thought about that? Besides, like some other people, like like your area locked accounts, like this is my Soul Wars only Iron Man.
Yeah, exactly.
That only does gray chins.
For context, if you guys don't know what we're talking about, JCW uploaded a video on his speedrun account talking about how gray Chinchampas were actually faster XP an hour than red Chinchampas if you didn't have access to the private area, which is mind-blowing because who in their right mind has ever thought about using gray Chinchampas as a training method? Nobody. Nobody. So it's just interesting stuff.
And I wonder, like, if it's just because of how heavily botted red chins are.
Well, I think it had to do with the spawn locations of the Chinchampas, I believe was what it was.
Oh, that's right, because the Isle of Souls Chinchampa spawn was like, there was like 3 all in one section.
Yeah, they were very close together. So he was just able to catch more an hour is basically what it came down to. That made up for the less XP you get for each one.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder what else Jagex inadvertently added with some of these like new locations.
Yeah, I can think of a few.
What else can you think of?
Well, okay, so one that I think of is with 10 HP accounts is back in the day when organized crime was released with Zaya. That
Oh
was
yeah.
a that was a big oopsies on their end. I don't think they realized how fucking ridiculous that was. I'm talking like 200k XP an hour in melee stats on a 10 HP account back in the day. It was wild,
Basically
but
just going sicko mode.
insane, insane. And it wasn't even just 10 HP accounts. Any account could take advantage of that. Like that was imagine it was even faster if you weren't 10 HP. So think about like peers or even just main accounts if you weren't training through Slayer. That was like genuinely a busted training method. I don't think people realize that.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess like I knew crimes were good. I just didn't know they were that good for a while.
If you okay, so crimes are interesting too. I guess we can talk about this real quick. Crimes
I
got
love
nerfed.
crime.
Well, the organized crime in RuneScape got
Oh,
nerfed.
oh,
Yeah,
oh, okay. Oh, we're talking about RuneScape still. Okay, never mind. Go ahead.
when I believe, oh goodness, what update was it? It might have been Song of the Elves, or maybe I'm tripping. There was some update that happened where they indirectly, without saying anything to anybody, absolutely fucked the rotations on organized crime. So the way they worked in the past, and ever since they got released with Zaya way back in the day, is they on every time the game updated. So on Wednesday, they would all spawn in on every single world at the same exact time. But as the week went on and people killed the organized crime, as soon as you killed all of the members of the gang, their respawn timer would start. But if nobody killed them, they would wait 5 minutes, despawn, then the timer for them to come back would start, right? So what ended up happening is that they would get spread out over time because people would kill them before they despawned. So if you went and did this on like Monday or Tuesday or right before the game update, you could literally constantly hop worlds and constantly kill the organized crime and literally be picking up full inventories of intelligence like nonstop and cashing those in for XP. So it was extremely busted. And then out of nowhere, without even knowing, without being in any patch notes, without pulling anything, they just completely made all the spawns static. So all the worlds spawn in twice an hour at the same exact time, no matter what you do now. So that's like another thing where when they first released it, they didn't realize how busted it was going to be. And then they also didn't realize that they were going to break it in some random other update. It's very interesting.
Oh, that brings me a little bit back when you just said that to what No Monkey had said. Is that like every time they release something big, they break something else.
I'm telling you. Yep.
It's insane the correlation between like, oh, we listen to quest. Oh, you can't train Hunter anymore.
Yep.
I wonder if like, I think they do. You think that they just need to do more in-house quality testing when it comes to that kind of stuff, or do you think it's just a repercussion we have from the code this game has been built on?
I definitely think they could do some more testing before the updates come out. One thing I've seen a lot of people talk about is how they should have more beta testing with members of the community, especially like higher level players, because those are the players that are going to push the boundaries and really find out what could go wrong. And I know they've done that with some like bigger updates. Like I know they've gotten input from players about sailing and other bigger updates. But it would be cool if they did that more on a more regular basis. It feels as if the JMods themselves are a little disconnected from the game sometimes. But when I say that too, and I try not to be pessimistic because we all love this game no matter what, and I'm still going to play this game no matter what, and it's been really cool to see how the game has progressed over the years. I've enjoyed it throughout it, but I do think there are some things that could have been avoided, that's for sure.
Definitely. There is, yeah. I don't really have a good response.
Either way,
think
we can just move on then.
I would say all I have to say is like, if you want the game to stay healthy and you don't want to remove the polling system, if you want us to have trust in you enough to remove the polling system, there should still be like betas that come out before things get released, and like they should take feedback on that kind of stuff. Also, I'm sorry if you heard me drop that dime. I was playing with it in my hands.
You're good.
And that brings
I absolutely agree though. I absolutely agree.
That just brings me full circle to the all the people that have been talking about getting the polling system removed and all that stuff. Like, it basically like I feel like inadvertently we have tied in everything from the very beginning of this section of the conversation right here to the end.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a nice little bow. I'm gonna wrap it, and we're gonna go back to you a little bit.
Okay.
So you said you've played this game for a very long time, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you keep your motivation? How do you avoid taking extended breaks because you just don't like the game at that point? Obviously, it's different when you take a break due to people obviously who go to school, have full-time jobs, or maybe they're moving or what doesn't matter, right?
Of course. Of course.
But how do you avoid not playing the game because you don't want to play the game?
It's a good question.
I also like to avoid the word burnout because I don't like that word.
Yeah, I know. And I've heard you talk about that a couple of times on the cast, and I agree. But we can get into that at a different time. But the way I stay motivated is probably two things, I'd say, maybe three actually. First, and the most important thing would be to set goals. And I feel like that's almost a little cliche nowadays, but it really is true. You have to be working towards something in this game because it's so massive. There's so many different things that you can do in this game. So really honing in on trying to achieve something and making sure it's realistic. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to get 200 mil all because I'm not going to. Am I going to play like I'm going to? Of course, right? But that's not the goal that I'm working towards. Like, for example, my goal is to max right now. That's a an attainable goal that I've set for myself.
I was just gonna like say like that's exactly the same way as I'm doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously for our account builds, Herblore is going to be.
Yeah, there's a lot of things like that where it's just not. Realistically, it's not possible for me, or it's something that I'll work towards slowly, and maybe 30 years down the road, God forbid, then we achieve it, right? But
exactly.
But either way, I feel like another really important thing that I feel like people don't discuss enough is being a part of a community. Being a part of, for me, the 10HP community has been a huge motivator and is probably the main reason why I still play this game. Whether it's making content about a certain build, whether it's theory crafting methods, or whether it's just talking on voice chat and Discord, or being in a clan, whatever it may be, just being a part of a community is really important. Like having people that play similar builds who are similar, have a similar mindset to you, and being around that is really encouraging. And also, it's just part of human nature, right? To build relationships and to be around people and socialize. That's part of the game. And I think a lot of people don't do that, and that's why they end up burning out because they try to take it all on by themselves.
That's a fantastic perspective. I think I agree. I agree 100% with your statement about like finding the people you just vibe with, you know, whether it be you talk in the CC or Discord all day, or whether it just be like, you know, seeing them on, it's just almost like a little comfort feeling. Like when I log in, look at my friends list, and I'm like, oh, there's this guy on again. I always see him on at this time. I wonder what he's up to.
Yeah, or it's like when we log on and we'll say hey to each other in the clan or whatever. Like it's never anything crazy, but it's still like, how you doing, gamer? And it's like, all right, we're doing good, cool.
We're gaming.
Yeah, exactly.
We're here doing the damn thing.
I'm telling you, as we're running laps together.
I know, isn't it? Does it feel weird to do agility right now?
I've been doing it on and off whenever I need a break from something, so it doesn't feel too unnatural.
That's good. Yeah, this podcast is my winter Todd break from the white prison.
Yep. I feel like the last thing I want to say on this is, for me specifically, one way I've stayed motivated is trying to do things that people normally don't do. So for me, that's playing 10 HP accounts, and that's pushing the boundaries of 10 HP accounts and what people have done in terms of skilling. Like, no one had maxed a 10 HP before. No one has maxed a 10 HP UIM. Things like that. Working towards goals that either no one's achieved or not a lot of people have achieved, and making, almost like you said earlier, like that trophy account is really motivating for me personally as well.
Absolutely. And I think one thing as well, you know, my own take on this is you hear from the community a lot that you have to be efficient, you have to do everything this way. But man, if you get your enjoyment if you can play 10 hours a day fishing lobsters, but you can only play 1 hour a day doing 3-tick barb lore. Fish the goddamn lobsters, man.
That's what I'm saying. You know, it reminds me of Catherby in our clan.
Oh, I know.
The guy who's been fishing, I don't even know what, probably sharks.
I think he does anglerfish.
Yeah, he's been fishing the same thing for, I swear, 10 years, and he's still not 200 mil fishing. But I'll be damned if every time he logs in, he doesn't send a damn fish logo in that clan. And I swear, any fishers? Yes, sir, Catherby, you're still fishing. We're proud of you. And I bet he loves it. I totally get it. I totally get what you're saying.
I wonder if he's ever going to finish, and if he finishes, if he'll just stop playing.
He's going to keep fishing, man.
You think so?
Yeah, he's going to keep, I'm telling you, he's going to keep fishing. He's going to fish for the rest of his life. That man's going to be on his deathbed fishing sharks.
That's the thing about this game too, is for some people this is like that comfort game. This isn't the game. This isn't the game you log in to get XP. This is the game you log in and you just want to sit by the goddamn pond and fish some fish. Yep. Or sit at a tree and chop an axe. Or like we do right now, we are just running circles. Is there a point to all of this for any reason? No. But goddamn it, I love. Not only number go up, but like for me, Artie is just zen.
Yeah, it's relaxing.
It's very easy for me to concentrate on other things while I'm doing it. That's why this is what I chose to do during the podcasts. I don't think I've ever mentioned that before, but like for me, the Artie rooftop is probably one of the most chillest things I can do on my account in this game. And that's why I only do it during these podcasts, because if I were to just shoot for 200 mil agility, I would not know what to do.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, that actually real quick too, before we kind of move on from this one, that is something else I wanted to add to how do you stay motivated? Multi-skill. Skill hop. Do some different things. Like you mentioned, if you don't enjoy doing something, whether it's playing efficiently or doing something for a prolonged period of time, just go do something else. Just go do something else. And you'd be amazed how much more you would enjoy this game when you just do what you want.
No, I absolutely agree. And like, there's nothing wrong with setting a goal and then having to deviate from that goal for a bit of time, because like, for many people who watch my videos, you know that like I've wanted 200 mil fire making for a bit of time at this point. I just couldn't do it for a while. I literally just couldn't do it. I would do like 1 million XP a month for a while. I think I set like 100 mil for a very long time.
Yep.
And then over that long period of time where I slowly got to 150, released the new video, that was it. That was the hump. I got over the hump, and now I can't wait to get home and log in and just fucking hammer it out.
Yep, it comes and goes.
So,
also, for the podcast, you're hearing this first. Me and Mayfield are going to go for 200 mil Wintertide together. So his next progress video will be 200 mil fire making. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. No, that's 100% guaranteed. I will not release another one until I'm 200 mil.
Yep. But it will be very soon.
No, don't say very soon. That's pressure, man.
I kid.
Although I will, starting in September, I will have a bit more time to game than I did in August.
It's exciting.
So hopefully, I think I said this last year, but hopefully by the end of the year I'll have it done.
That'd be awesome.
That's my hope.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be awesome.
And I've learned making YouTube videos that making a commitment or guarantee is just dumb.
Yeah, because don't look at my upload schedule. It's never a good idea.
Because next thing I know, I'm gonna get really sucked into that project I'm working on, and I'm just not gonna play Mayfield for like a month. So that's why I want to finish fire making before I really work on that project that I'm gonna do. TM. I'm holding myself to it. I will do at least one video in the project I want to do. But I'm not going to release any details now. Just know it's going to be hopefully exciting.
Yep, it will be.
So that being said, I've got a couple more things for you.
Okay.
The biggest one I like to ask people is, what other kind of games do you play? Like, what other kind of things do you do outside of this game that you're like, this is also a big part of my life?
Just games or just kind of real
Just
life as well?
start with games, but then like anything else in real life.
Okay, yeah, we'll go games first. So we talked about this off the cast the other day,
The
but
precast.
yes, excuse me, precast. The first game I really got into, other than RuneScape, was Zombies, Call of Duty Zombies. I used to play that back in the day. That's where my name Purrverse actually came from. My gamer tag on Xbox used to be Persevere, so that's kind of where the name came from. But I was pretty heavily involved in that community and was, I guess you could say the high. I was in the high level community for that game, so that was a lot of fun. Other than that, I've also played quite a bit of Rocket League over the years. Rocket
Ooh,
League
good
was a big
game.
game. Yeah, I played a lot of Rocket League. I played that with a real life friend, so that was really fun to play back and forth with him. Other than that, there's been games here and there, but those are the two that I dedicated a large amount of time to. Obviously, we all played a whole bunch of other games, but those are the two most popular ones that I played, I would say.
Fantastic. Anything else in your life? I guess I could talk about my other games. I don't think I really mentioned besides Counter Strike other games I played on this cast before.
Counter Strike's a good one. I haven't played it, but I've seen a lot of good things about it. I've watched some pretty entertaining streams and videos about it.
So currently I play 3 games: RuneScape, Counter Strike, and Marvel Snap, baby.
Ooh,
I love card games.
that's cool.
So I'm a very avid Marvel Snap player. If you play Marvel Snap, just know I hit infinite every season, and my favorite deck is Bounce. For those who for those who don't play, that will mean nothing to you. But for those who do, you'll get it. You'll get it, and you'll also hate me for playing Bounce. Bounce is a very controversial archetype. So,
Well,
but
I know too, real quick.
yeah,
I know I was originally born kind of where you're around right now. Have you ever heard of the card game called Euchre?
yes, I have.
Okay, yeah. So big advocate for Euchre as well. I grew up playing that with my family and friends. That's awesome.
I don't think I've ever actually played it, but I had like friends who used to like had families that would play it at like their cabins or like Christmases and shit like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But for me, card games I like the Hearthstone
Mm-hmm.
type
Yeah,
type card games. Like I never played Magic, but man, it looks crazy.
it looks fun. I'm not gonna lie.
Maybe this is the year we get into Magic, Teaks.
Maybe I'll have to try it. A couple of my real life friends tried it out and they said they enjoyed it. So
And there's an online version too where you don't have to like pay a bunch of money on cards.
hey, okay.
So actually, after the cast, we're gonna log off. We're gonna go play Magic for 6 hours and not go to work tomorrow.
After 200 mil fire making.
Oh, okay, that's right. You're right. We can't get distracted now.
Oh man.
So what else? What else in your life keeps you waking up in the morning away from that ever longing walk we take towards death?
Well, when I'm not being a nerd and playing RuneScape all day, I actually really like to travel. One of the goals that I've had ever since about high school is I've wanted to visit every single one of the national parks in the United States. So normally every summer, me and a couple friends will load up into a car and we'll kind of road trip the country for a few weeks and just visit a whole bunch of national parks. Believe I've been to around 17 or so now in my life, which has been really cool, all across the country. Just recently, I went on a trip with my girlfriend and we went to Yosemite National Park out in California, went to Death Valley, and we also went to Zion National Park. So I love to travel. I love to go to national parks, get out and hike whenever I get the chance. That's definitely a big part of my hobby.
Awesome. And actually, speaking of that, one big monument, my partner and I just went and saw. We went and saw the world's largest. Wait for it. Wait for it. I'm saying wait for it because I actually forgot the name. Oh, the Shrine to the Grotto of Resurrection. It's the largest religious grotto in the entire world.
Where is that at?
Iowa.
Ah, okay, interesting.
It was quite the sight. Honestly,
I, did,
not as big as I thought it would be.
I didn't even know there was anything in Iowa.
Neither did I. Until my partner was like, I want to go see this. And I was like, your birthday's coming up. I guess we can go do that.
That's cool though.
Sounds cheap to me.
Yeah, that's cool.
Jordan, if you're listening to this, I'm sorry. This was cheaper than going to Texas and going to the Hobbit Cafe.
That would have been a trek.
Yeah, we'd have flown. I can't stand driving for more than like 2 hours.
That's cool though.
What's your favorite national park you've been to? Wait, hold on.
Oh, I kind of already spilled it.
Wait, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead. I'll ask my question after.
Okay. Yosemite. Yosemite National Park is my favorite national park by far.
I was gonna ask does your name Teaks come from like the fact that you like nature, or did it just come from Teak Trees RuneScape?
It genuinely came from Teak Trees from RuneScape, to be honest.
Awesome.
It really did. Yep.
Did you just get the name in a name drop, or did you just have it for a long time?
No, I literally just, when I made my new 10HP account after I restarted the first one that I did Priest and Peril, I literally was just typing in random names and Teaks just appeared. And I was like, oh, this isn't taken. Cool. And now here we are. Now it's kind of like my entire identity. It's kind of
That's how I felt when my name Mayfield comes from a band.
Yeah.
So I always wonder if like my YouTube channel will ever get popular enough that band's like, what the hell is happening?
Well, they're gonna pay you for it, man. That's like the long-term plan for you. You're gonna blow up on YouTube and then sell your channel to the band.
Ooh, that'd be crazy. So getting into kind of the exit questions here, I've got two big ones.
Okay.
The first one is managing your life. Obviously, anybody who plays this game knows that it takes a long time to get things done. You said you've been playing Purrverse for what, like 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, probably 5 or 6. I wasn't playing the entirety of those years, but yes, the account was created around 5 or 6 years ago.
And yeah, for people who know me, I've been playing Mayfield for 4 years on and off, roughly.
Mm-hmm.
So our accounts are not that different in age. So how do you manage your time between your obligations in real life, whether that be job, school, whatever it may be, family, relationships, friends, other hobbies, as you've stated, going over, seeing other national parks around the country, that kind of stuff. How do you manage, keep a good balance between everything and not let your life get consumed by one thing?
Well, real life always takes priority. And I wish I would have known that or agreed with that when I was younger and was playing like Teaks and that kind of thing, because back then RuneScape really took priority over a lot of things.
Yeah, for reference, I was joking when I said boo.
Oh no, you're good. I know. It's a meme. I totally get it. No, but RuneScape was like a huge priority back then, and it wasn't healthy. And as I got older and I got into university and I kind of branched out a little bit, I definitely started to realize how that wasn't healthy. It was consuming basically everything. And definitely over the years, especially after maxing Teaks, I've definitely taken a step back. And I still play a lot, right? I still play way more than a casual player does. But I prioritize everything else in my life first. I prioritize my career, my job. I prioritize my masters that I'm going for. I prioritize my girlfriend, my family, hang out with friends every once in a while. I've learned to find that healthy in between where I still go do things in real life, but then once I feel satisfied with the things that I've done, I can sit down and decompress and relax and play RuneScape. So for me, it's been prioritizing my overall wellness, like my well-being in real life has directly translated into a healthier gaming experience.
We love to hear that, though. We love a good, healthy balance.
Mm-hmm.
Any tips for people on, not letting, for a lot of people like myself, took me a long time, like you said yourself too, to not just sit there and hyperfixate on this game for 14 hours a day.
Yeah.
So any tips you got for people on that?
Yeah, I do actually. So for context here, the master's that I'm currently working on is in exercise science with an emphasis in health and wellness. So actually my education right now is directly related to kind of this topic. So I'd say the biggest tip that I could give people is even if you do play video games all day, there's nothing wrong with that. You can do exactly what you want to. If it makes you happy, that's perfect, right? But what I would recommend trying to do is to get some type of physical activity in your day, whether it's 10 minutes of walking around the neighborhood, or it's parking a little bit farther away from the grocery store and walking a little bit farther, or even if it's as simple as standing up at your desk while you're playing RuneScape, whatever it is, try to get some bit of physical activity because you would be amazed at first off the health benefits, but also just the psychological benefits that you'll feel from getting active. It is severely underestimated. Some bit of physical activity and a little bit of good nutrition goes a really long way.
Awesome. I think that's great advice. It kind of goes hand in hand with, people who had listened to the Hey Box one. Like, he's a 200 mil all guy. He's got, like YouTube channel kind of popped off. Does really good videos. Man still goes to the gym multiple times a week. Tries to eat healthy.
Absolutely. And it's not even just the stereotypical, I'm going to go lift weights, right? It really can just be as easy as just moving your body. In fact, there's a lot of studies and research talking about it's something called NEAT. You can look it up. It's kind of funny that it's called NEAT because that's what people call people who play video games all day, right?
Yeah.
But it's called NEAT, and it's basically your body's response to burning calories from just standing or just like your postural muscles. So there's a lot of studies talking about trying to fight obesity where one of the best ways to do it, or at least to start that journey, is just to stand up instead of sitting down all day. Instead of being in that sedentary behavior, such as sitting at your desk or laying on the couch watching TV, try doing that, but just stand up for 15 minutes today. Maybe a week from now, you can stand up for 30 minutes throughout your day, an hour, right? You can build up to that. And even just that makes a massive difference. Massive difference. So it's very interesting stuff.
That is very interesting. Very cool. I appreciate you sharing that all with us.
Of course, I hope it helps somebody out there.
Yeah, I guess you never really know.
Yeah.
That's always the thing. Like, I joke about it, but ever since I've mentioned a couple times to other people, I don't know if I mentioned to you, but ever since the Hey Box cast, he made me a lot more conscious about like actually drinking water.
Yeah, it's important. That kind of thing is important.
And I was really good for a long time about it, and then I got back in the like habit of drinking pop all the time, and then I quit drinking pop, but then I was drinking like Red Bull all the time, and now I just don't drink any drinks with sugar in them, basically.
Yeah.
So I'm. It's like I love to like have something to drink at all times. So it's like for me, it's like a vice. So to get over that, I drink a lot of fucking sparkling water. I love me a good LaCroix.
Hey, there you go. That'll do the job.
It gives me that bubbly fix I need.
Yeah, absolutely.
So last question I have for you. Before I go on to the last question, do you have anything you want to ask me as we have sat here talking about this for the past couple hours?
One question I do have, it's RuneScape related. So
Okay.
once you inevitably finish 200 mil fire making, which I know you will very soon before the year ends, what is going to be your goal for Mayfield after 200 mil fire making?
Max.
Fair enough.
Always has been.
Do you know what order you want to go, or like what skill is going to kind of be next to look forward to?
Construction next. After construction, it will be smithing. Somewhere in there, I'll get the last 700k mining XP I have to get done. That's just passive. I'll open my skill tab too so I can remember why I don't have maxed. After smithing, it will be finishing up, or probably going to Temperos for 99 fishing, using those resources for 99 cooking, or I'll just AFK or 3-tick fly fish, and then I'll just do Karambuan cooking for 99 cooking. And then after that, it is going to be thieving. And then thieving, after thieving, it'll be probably 20 mil thieving total XP doing Master Farmers.
Yep.
And then it will be doing herb runs and something else for a while until I finish Herblore.
Probably this.
Probably this.
Yeah.
And then my last 99 will probably be crafting.
Awesome.
Otherwise, crafting will probably go where fishing and cooking were. It depends if I can be asked to do that. I might actually just do like a level here and there.
That's what I'd recommend.
To break it up because of the monotony and the slowness of it. But somewhere in that area, I have to hunt Dragon Imp Skin of Glory. I still don't have one of those.
Mm-hmm. Well, that won't take too long. But historically, with crafting on UIMs, especially ones without the Lunar Spellbook, people generally don't like crafting. So I would recommend breaking it up.
So yeah, but that's kind of the goal. And then once I finish maxing, I will go back to Guardians of the Rift for the runecrafting outfit. I will stay until it is fully blue, because I like my. I'm not a Kalogger on this account, but I like my cosmetics. And then once that's done, I will most likely do 100 mil runecrafting. And then once 100 mil is done, I'll be working on my other account that everybody sees in the corner up there. As well as once firemaking's done, I'm doing some more AFK stuff. I will be working on the other project that I had alluded to. I'm gonna be writing a script and all that stuff for it, so it'll be a lot, but it'll be a lot of fun, hopefully.
That's cool.
So I've got not only like RuneScape plans, but like plans with other accounts and things to expand content on the channel. You know what it is.
Awesome. It's exciting. It's exciting.
So hopefully one day, my quote unquote dream. This has been my dream ever since I started doing YouTube a long ass time ago. Is 1,000 subscribers.
Hey.
I feel like I'd be happy with 1,000.
Yeah, seeing that K next to the number, right? Instead of just it's nice. It's nice. That's cool, man.
But that's me. But I guess I didn't really ask you if you want to spoil the progress and tell people how far away you are from maxing Purrverse minus Slayer.
Yeah. So if you've only watched my progress videos, which is probably not that many people listening to this podcast, but I'm pretty close to max in terms of total level. Obviously, I still have a way because I have a lot of slow skills left, but pretty much all 99s except for Slayer and the skills that come with Slayer, and then Construction and Herb Lore. That's really all I have left. I'm trying to not focus on max right now because I don't want to max and then feel kind of lost with my account. So I'm kind of exploring going past 99 and some skills and working on some passive things. I've been enjoying that, kind of hunting some pets kind of here and there as well. It's been enjoyable. So yeah, I have goals of eventually maxing, but I'm just working on it very slowly.
And you had mentioned earlier that we're probably gonna be doing some Wintertide together. So, your 200 mil winter fire making. Do you plan to go for any like big 200 mils at all, or do you just kind of want to do one just so you can be like, I actually did it?
So ideally, long term here. This is very long term because this is still a ways away. But when I do max eventually, hopefully I'll have 200 mil fire making before then, and then I'll max. But ideally, what I would like to do after that, if I get to that point, is I would like to push the boundaries of the combat stats. So I'd like to start pushing towards some 200 mils in some of the combat stats. And probably the first one that I would do would probably be attack with the boosting, or the Dolo Soul Wars, excuse me. That method is a lot of fun. No one's pushed the boundaries with that yet, and I think it'd be really fun to see what I could do with that.
Actually, quick question: did you ever see the guy in RS3 or maybe it was RS2 back in the day who did 200 mil attack and like that was his only combat skill?
I'm not familiar.
At Soul Wars?
That sounds very funny. That's funny.
Yeah, he did that like ages ago, and he had an untripped attack cape too.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
He loved that shit.
Mm-hmm.
I was just curious if you had like I don't remember his name at this point, but I might try and go back and find the video now because I remember seeing it a long time ago and I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah, that is awesome.
So that brings me into the finale question, and that is we kind of just mentioned it a little bit, but basically like your future moving forward. Like, do you see yourself playing the game maybe even 5 years from now? Are there any updates besides the account build update if they were to try and push that again that would come out you would be like, this is the end for me? Or are you just kind of going with it as long as you enjoy it?
Yeah, so for as long as I can play a 10 HP account in this game without it getting absolutely screwed, kind of like we talked about earlier, I don't see myself ever quitting this game. The whole meme about you never quit RuneScape, you just take breaks is definitely true. I don't see myself ever fully quitting this game
Yeah.
until it's like either irrelevant or my account builds are just not enjoyable or possible or whatever that may be. Yeah. I'm in it for the long haul.
Awesome. Well, hopefully we see some more videos on the Teaks YouTube channel. That will, of course, be linked in the description. Anything else you want to say before we sign off?
Well, first off, if you made it this far, wow. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. I hope you learned a little bit about 10HP accounts and kind of what I do. I hope it inspired you to make one yourself as well. But for real, from both of us, really means a lot that you watched this far. And thank you. Make sure you subscribe.
Thank you. Make sure you subscribe not just to me, but also to Teaks. He is past 1,000, so he's living my dream currently. So thank you again for being here. And hopefully one day, if we ever have a 10 HP roundtable on the cast, you will be here for that.
Yeah, of course. I'd love to be back.